Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to take a look at Eliot's collection. Eliot he's about 20 years old and he's in flight school. He's planning to become an airline pilot. And this is his collection, I think reflects his age and resources. And as such, it's a very interesting one. There are a number of watches I didn't know about, and I found to be quite interesting. To get started, we'll take a look at the first one. There are a couple Seikos. One is a modded Seiko 55 Phantoms. I didn't know about the 55 Phantoms, and it's for a diver, but I don't know what part was modded on it. It could be the bezel, or it could be some aspect of it. But it's a decent looking watch. I don't know whether Eliot did the modding or somebody else did, but it's something about it I like. Now the other one is a Seiko PVD World Timer SRP 129K1. This watch is, again, you're talking about for a young guy with a limited budget. This would be a great world timer. Now, if you're going to be an airline pilot, something like this can be extremely useful. So not only is it sort of cool to have a world timer, it's also very cool in a practical way. Now, these next two are one, the Vostok Komandrisky GMT. It's a GMT, another one for travel. An interesting watch is with the rotating bezel on it and the extra time. Great big arrow hands for the hour. And then it's got a red arrow for the second time, for the GMT time. And then a red strap. This looks like a lot of fun watch. Now the Seiko SKX009 is a diver's watch, another diver's watch. Thing I like about this is that, like on my Seiko 5, it's got the crown down at 4 o'clock. That's a good place for it. It stays out of the way and you don't have as many opportunities to actually hit against something. But again, these are very, very affordable watches. Now, another Seiko, and again, this is a Seiko 5, which I happen to like a lot. This one is the Seiko 5 Actis SS 1969. And there's a date, and I think the day is in Japanese. I'm not sure whether that's the date in Japanese or the day, but I think it's the day in Japanese with it, which is sort of fun because if you get a watch like that and you don't know Japanese, at least you could learn the days of the week with it. Next to it is the Russian Cody. Now, this belonged to Eliot's grandfather. And it's a manual one. It's a very cool watch, I think, a very clean watch. And as you can see, it's been around the block a few times, but still, it's an interesting watch. I don't know, I've never seen another Cody in any of the collections, so this makes it a little special for me anyway. Now, these next two, you have the Poljot Chronograph manual wind. If you're going to have a chronograph, I think one that you can clearly see is very advantageous. And this one is clear as a bell. You got two subdials, one at 9 and one at 3. You got the bezel around the side, and then you have the date, a good sized date window down at 6 o'clock, and then you use the second hand as your sort of as a dual purpose as a chronograph hand. Now, next to it is sort of I guess you'd call it a dress watch. It might be a dress watch, or it might be sort of a undertone, toned down from being dressy for an office watch. This is a vintage Breitling Geneve, and a nice clean dial, about as clean as a whistle that you can get. Okay, these final two watches. Again, there's another watch I hadn't heard of, I didn't know about. It's called Lucerne Sport Racing Watch. And it's got lots and lots of information. The outer bezel is a calculator, and it's sort of like a little slide rule, a little circular slide rule. Pilots have a circular slide rule that they use a lot. Now this one is got a whole lot of information on it, and it depending on what you're doing with it. Now you have a number of concentric circles. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 concentric circles. That's a lot of information. Plus you have the 2 subdials. Now the subdials, give it a look. It looks like a chronograph. I didn't see any mention of a chronograph on it, so it may not be, but it's a very, very interesting watch, one I've never seen before. Now, finally, it's one I have seen before, and this is an Omega Speedmaster, and he calls it reduced. This was something from his, it belonged to his father. This is a father to son watch, and it's pretty much a Speedmaster as a Speedmaster with its chronograph functions and so forth. Now, the thing about this kind of collection, or a collection at this level, I think it affords the opportunity for more experienced collectors, I'll put it that way, older collectors, richer collectors, some ideas of, now here's a guy who's going to be an airline pilot, and I know that a lot of pilots like Rolexes, so if I were going to recommend a Rolex, I would say an Explorer 2 with a second time on it, with a GMT, because a GMT Master, either one of those, I think would be good watches for a pilot, because you can set the one time to Zulu time, which pilots use, and the other one you get a regular time. Now, on a little fancier level, I would also recommend one of the Parmigianis. A Parmigiani, they have a couple. They have one called Autolite, which is for more for cars and so forth. But I believe it also has I think it has a dual time or chronograph, one of the two. But one of those, even better, would be the Parmigiani retrograde hemispheres. Won a Grand Prix award, and there are a lot of them out there way below the MSRP, brand new. So that's another. I happen to have one, so actually I like it a lot. But these are some suggestions, and of course you have the Omega Speedmaster, and that I think you're pretty well set for chronographs. A dress watch, a lot of options for a dress watch. One dress watch I've always liked, and it's a pretty clean one, very simple one, is Vacheron Constantin Patrimony. It's very much like a Calatrava, but it doesn't quite cost as much. So it's something I think, and plus it's a classy watch. So anyway, let's hear from you. I know that a lot of you are in or near the same boat, but once Eliot gets a job flying airplanes, he'll be able to, after he pays off whatever his ground school budget was, a little room for a watch. I'd like to hear what you have to say. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. And this is an invitation to subscribe if you'd like.